Hey, shalom, everybody. Shalom, Israel, black people. Um, this is the Hebrew Homestead update. I got sprouts sprouting up. You can see there's watermelons in here, but there's also beans in here. And because I'm not the best gardener, I know the ones in the back are sugar snaps. That line back here, that's sugar snaps. But these, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember what I put in here. I did not write it down. If I don't write it down, I might forget. I must have put them in there. I think I had a bunch of black eyed peas. Yeah, I know some beans. I know I put 2 watermelons in here, transplanted, and I've planted a lot of watermelons. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure. We'll find out what these are. And the sunflower patch is doing what sunflowers do. Look at that. Those are the transplants from the compost pile that I've used up. I used up that compost pile. Here, the quails are doing that. I don't know what their crow is. They're doing their crow. Let's put some water in there. Here I got I wrote it down right down there. You can see it. Let me see. Yeah, I wrote that down. You can see that. It's a popcorn. So this little patch here is popcorn, which is going to give these little guys some. He said, "Shut up." These little guys some shade from the sun. That's the sun runs south, east to west. That's south. We're gonna get them some shade in the dead heat of summer. Waiting on this to come up. Um, I added some more compost to the okra because it looked like it was at a standstill. We'll see if that helped. I used the fork and broke open the ground a little bit. I think the water compacted soil. I didn't put probably enough compost in the soil. The soil's not great. The chickens helped it out. It still ain't perfect, so gotta use a lot of compost. But I added a little more compost to that and broke open the ground a little bit to see if that helps. Green peppers. A lot of times we transplant stuff, they kind of do what I call they sit and look stupid for like a couple of weeks before their roots dig in and take on the new surroundings. They kind of go in a little shock, I think. And these aren't looking unhealthy, but they just kind of sit at a standstill, like they don't grow. Sometimes I've seen it where sometimes they just don't grow no more at all. It's just weird. That's why I don't really like transplants, but sometimes you gotta do it. Uh, but usually they sit for like a week or 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. They'll sit, they won't grow any, and then all of a sudden, boom, they'll take off. Like, I can't remember, I think these cucumbers were transplants. But they starting to take off. They starting to grab. And these wires I put down for them, I don't know if you see that. Yeah, they're grabbing the wires. They're gonna climb the rope, and they're going to hopefully climb that fence. So at least one of them is. More sunflowers here. These this is turnips. Turnips and rutabagas over here. I don't expect much from this because it's late for them. I just put them in here. These are parsnips. Like they might start to be coming up. I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't think I've ever grown parsnips, not successfully. More sugar snaps and that little row in the back. See that? Those sugar snap peas. It's not more. Baby chickens are not babies anymore. They're teenagers. This is the only thing new back here. This was where I told you I didn't soak these seeds, and you can see I got 1, 2, 3 corn that came up. So I think that was another one. It probably got knocked over. This might have been another one. Oh, that's grass. It might have been corn. It's hard to tell. Anyway, if it is a corn, it's about dead. But I think that's grass. Either way, taking no chances. I put some more sweet corn in here, and I soaked it. So we'll see in about a week. And I added more compost back here. That's where I use my compost up back here and over there in the front. You see this beets. This they do sometimes midday. I might water them some more. They do wilt sometimes. I did water them this morning, and I weeded them, so some of them might be why. Kind of weed them. I don't see no big bulbs on these like the ones in the front. Once again, this is the first year with this soil. I thought the chickens did some good, and I added stuff to it, but it's still, I don't think this is the best soil back here. So I just have to keep adding material. But that's how they look sometimes, midday. You'd be tempted to water them right now, but unless you didn't water them at all in the past, sometimes you don't want to do it at this time of day because sometimes it might help them, sometimes it might burn them up. Just let them make it through the day. But let's go up front. See, even these guys, I know I water them, and they do a little wilt. And about, high noon, the heat of the day, they'll make it through. And that corn is looking fabulous. That's great. I'm gonna let all of it grow right next to each other. So that's the new stuff up front. That little bed of popcorn, that sweet corn, and look at that. What's missing is the blueberries. Because I planted the blueberries back here in the back. I got a blueberry patch. I put some strawberries in there and see if they some bare roots. Hope they come up. I saw some stuff that looked like strawberries in the back. Probably from feeding the chickens strawberries. I'm not sure. I pulled up some of them. I left some of them. It's hard to tell. I don't think these is it, but that looked like a strawberry. It's hard to tell because there's a lot of weeds look like that too. But I put in one fig tree right here. Still letting these look messy because I'm letting them go to seed. And you gotta let them go all the way out if you want the seeds to be viable. They gotta finish their whole thing. So they look like they might be about done, but you gotta let them go all the way out and kind of dry out. They look like if you take them too soon, from what I read, the seeds won't be any good. So I'll be doing this in vain if I let them go too soon. So they look messy, but that's what you gotta do if you want some seed. You just deal with the mess. So I don't know if you can see it good or not, because it's kind of hard to see past the messiness of the seeding greens next to them, the neighbors. But this was a pile of compost. This is the pile of compost that I got from cutting that park. It was a big pile like up to here, and I knocked it down. I went through the bottom with the pickaxe to break up the clay and break up the soil. This also had a layer of wood chips from 2017. Yes, is this 2019, 2018? I started building 2018, 2018. No, 2017. I don't know. Somewhere in 2017 to 2018. Before I built the tiny house, I had a big pile of wood chips. Before I put the French drain around here, I knocked down that big pile. I had burnt them because they had a little mold on them. I burnt them and I spread them out all the way over here. And that's been sitting, that's part of that big pile of wood chips. They hate me, they don't want to bring me no more. But that's part of what all of this is growing in. Because this, before that pile of wood chips, was all clay. So that part of that, the dirt that's here is actually rotten wood chips. And manure, wood chips and manure. I had a big pile of wood chips, had a big pile of manure. I knocked them down, burnt the wood chips, I knocked them down to kind of spread it. And that is what's giving me my fertility on top of this, because up front, it's a lot of clay. Back here where the trees were, it's a lot of good soil. So up there, that's them wood chips and that manure is what's giving me my good soil. It's literally what I'm growing in. Same here. So all around here, I knocked it down. Not around the tiny house, just around, not on the tiny house, but around the tiny house. I knocked it down and spread it out like, it's hard for you to see because, you know, this kind of some messiness right now. Not that, but this. But, so this was where I'm standing, even where this trailer is. From here, all around here, I spread them wood chips. This ground was actually, I kind of raised the ground a little bit. Let me show you where this tree is. Where this tree stump is where the ground level is. It's kind of hard for you to see from the camera, but it's raised up. The level, instead of it being at the foot of that tree stump, is about where the top of that tree stump is, which is about, I added like 6 to 8 inches to maybe a foot. Maybe a foot I added of material to the ground. And I did that with that little backhoe, and it had a little dozer on it. It was tiny, but it did a hell of a job for me. So on top of that, I added the pile of grass and mostly grass that I cut from the park. Most of that was grass I cut from the park, and a bunch of leaves I cleaned up from around the park. It was probably like the size of, you know, somebody's lot, house lot. But I cut that up, piled that up early this spring, and it went through its heat process. It broke down, mulch. It was already half mulched when I got it, the leaves and stuff. And that's what these blueberries are in. And if I'm not mistaken, blueberries like, well, this is good soil, so it don't matter. When you add a lot of material like that, it almost don't matter. But I think they like acidic soil. But nothing likes clay except cedar trees. And I'm not growing cedar trees. So that's why I go on these little things and pick up, clippings and try and fill this bad boy up with as much material as I can to make big piles of compost, because that's what makes my beds. And this is a new bed. Let me see if you can get back and see it. This is my new bed. You can see them two lines. That's a little walkway. That's a little walkway. And what is that? Oh, city truck. I wish I had one of those. So that's a little walkway, and that's a little walkway. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blueberry plants planted. I got some strawberries, bare root strawberries I put in here. Let's see if they come up. I might add some more, and I'm gonna add some more in here. So I'm gonna have blueberries, and the walkway I have strawberries on the ground. Let the strawberries take over. If those bare roots don't come up, I'll buy a couple of plants, because I'm determined to have blueberries and strawberries. Because if I don't, I end up putting some other stuff in there, and I don't want to do that because I'll get crazy with it, and I'll be growing crops in between the blueberries, and I really don't want to do that. So I'm definitely gonna do strawberries in between the blueberries. They won't interfere with each other, and I have a nice, it's be a nice berry patch right here. And even in the wintertime, if I let the chickens out, there'll be no harm done. They'll be done. They won't kill the blueberry plants, and they really can't hurt the strawberries. So, but if I do let the chickens out, I think I'm gonna have the chickens. If I let them out, they're gonna be back here in this area, back here. That's a lot further back than it looks. Almost big enough for a couple of sheep. I'm thinking I could have 3 sheep. Bah. But not now. I gotta finish cleaning it up. There's my free pallets. But this is it. This is the biggest update. The blueberries are in the ground. There's lots of blueberries on the blueberries. They just haven't turned blue yet. They're still green. So don't eat green blueberries. Wait for them to turn blue. And yeah, that was a good investment. I think I got them for $8 a piece. I think I spent, but that was way earlier this year. They've been sitting in the pots, and I've been watering them, and I almost some days thinking I'm gonna, miss the water. I might kill them. I can't leave them in the pots all. I'm not running a full-time nursery. Somebody water them 2-3 times a day, especially in the summer here. So I had to get them in the ground. I wanted them to be around the fish ponds, but that's taking longer. I got it taking longer and a little more concrete than I thought. So I got one layer done. I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, that's the big accomplishment for the week. This patch is probably about, I know it's because of the camera, you can't really see how big it really is. So, 6, 7, 10. Yeah, it's about probably 10 by 10. Yeah, it's about a 10 by 10, 10 foot by 10 foot square. It's bigger than my tiny house. But this right here is to be a nice source of berries. Once I get it established, it is established. But once I get the strawberries in there, Strawberries, you can you can you know dig them up or separate them, but once you put strawberries in the ground, they kind of can be a permanent fixture as long as you take care of them. So it'll be blueberries and strawberries on the ground, and that'll be enough, you know, for me or anybody else that comes around. Is it enough to sell? I don't know. I'm gonna find out. So this is like 10 plants. Um, you know, it's not an acre of blueberries, but it's a start. You know, it might be enough to have a couple baskets on the weekend or something to sell. So, what else is new? That's it. I think that's it. My mulberry tree is mulberrying. Is berries you can get. It's almost like an everyday thing. I don't know if you can see them little black berries. Just gives you fresh berries almost every day. And just don't get the one that the little worm then got. I guess that's the silkworm. If he gets to it first, um, you'll know because it's kind of slimy when you touch it. Mm. If it's sticky and slimy, don't eat it because something else is already eating it. And the good ones are dry. And yeah, this tree is cool because it literally gives you fruit like almost every day. I can come pick all these berries that's ripe today, and tomorrow or the next day, there'll be more berries that's ripe. They don't give them all up at once. It's pretty cool. The tree is smart. Some people think the trees ain't here for you, but I think that the trees are here for you too. You know what I mean? They're here to do other stuff, but they're here for you too. Okay, I'm getting way off track, and you don't want to watch me eat mulberries. But it's kind of hard once you start eating them. Look at that. It's like a bunch of grapes in the form of a berry. Oh, and the last thing, that's my second layer. The bottom is concrete and bricks. And that's my second layer. And I gotta go all the way up with my concoction of concrete and clay. I'm not hopping down there to show you, but that little ring you see is concrete and clay. So I gotta go. I made one ring. I probably gotta do like 3 more sessions to get to the top. Only to find out if this even works. That's a lot of work. I was gonna put the blueberries around these pines, but my pines are taking too long. I'll just put something else around them. So I had to get the blueberries in the ground. Oh, this tree came back. It is, yeah. We'll see if it lasts. It's a ruby red, what is it called? grapefruit. It's really red grapefruit. And it came back. It's you know, I don't know how happy it is, but it came back. The frost bit it, and it came back. So, you know, might have a chance. Especially if I put the pond there, have it next to the water. I might like that. So, I'm wondering if I can have citrus trees up here. They say some people you can, but like this one, it's taking the abuse. It's a citrus tree. I forget what kind it is. I even cut one of the branches off, but it's still here. It's still, you know, healthy. It got mulch around it. I don't know if I'm helping it, but I had to have mulch around it. And I watered it when I think about it. But it's still here. A lot of trees and citrus trees I brought from Florida when I was trucking, I would say 50% of them dead. Maybe even 60. Probably 70, I don't know. This is not a citrus tree. This is I can't remember what that's called. That's another fruit tree, and it's been abused. I'm trying to see if I can make it. I had to pull this trailer back over it without hitting it. But my truck was sitting over here. It's been ran over by many things, and it's still here, it's still alive. So the pawpaw trees are doing something. This one, I added a little compost here, a little manure here, and covered it back with the clay. And I'm thinking that's the difference, because this one popped his leaves like way bigger, or maybe because it gets more sun. I don't know. But this one's it's not doing this. It's not popping as good as that one, but it's coming to life. They don't get fooled by the fake spring. They know what time it is. But the pawpaw trees are still in effect. I probably got 5 years before I see fruit from that. Look at that. That's a nice dandelion. The chickens are gonna love that, because that's where it's going. It's gonna feed them. Dandelions and the kudzu, the chickens love. And the last part of the update, the radish in the back doing great, and I'm not going back there, is these guys are still living. They were doing that transplant standstill thing, but I think these might be starting to grow a little bit. These are eggplants. These are tomatoes. These are eggplants. Eggplants. These are tomatoes, eggplants, and tomatoes over here. So far all of the tomatoes are standing up. I trimmed some of the bottoms off of them. I'm gonna get them either strings or stakes, and keep them standing up, and keep taking the what do they call it? Man, I'm having forgive me, y'all. It's like my fourth attempt at not drinking coffee. I'm on day 4 of no coffee, so I'm struggling. What are they called? Suckers. They're pinching the suckers off of them. So that's it. That's the update. And I'm out. Shalom, everybody. Peace.